across the country. Interesting. O'Rourke, in a Wednesday announcement, urged banks and credit card companies to start refusing to provide services to some gun buyers and manufacturers, expanding on his sweeping gun reform proposals in the wake of mass shootings that have rocked the nation in recent weeks. Some gun buyers? Really? Now that's fascinating. The former congressman is urging the financial institutions to stop providing services. What the hell? Okay. Stop providing services. I got lost here. For the sale of assault weapons. He also is calling on banks to refuse their services for the sale of firearms online or at gun shows where background checks are not required. Not true. Asking the services be suspended while the universal background checks become law. Wow. Now that's fascinating. He's saying that. And me not being the gun guy, I don't know everything, but I do know that he's wrong there. Gun shows and online sales require background checks and require that, especially online sales, they have to ship them to a licensed dealer to be able to, for you to get any kind of weapon. You do have to go through a background check, so that's wrong. Now there are some person-to-person sales that do not have background checks. Many of those person sales are illegal. But anyway, however inadvertent or deliberate credit card companies and banks profit off those who terrorize our community. You know, Beto. You know how many gun owners there are in the country, Beto? Who's terrorizing our communities? If you think on a percentage basis, it's way less than 1/100th of 1%. So I don't understand. Banks that profit off for those who terrorize communities. There's a lot of gun owners in this country, and the vast majority of them are. Oh my God. Anyway, and we know that in this moment, no one can sit on the sidelines. Everyone has a responsibility to do their part. O'Rourke said in an email to supporters, you know what? This is not going to do shit. This is another, it's a feel good thing. He has supporters to sign a petition calling banks to follow through with the requests he's laid out. So let's see. The announcement follows O'Rourke's previous rollout of gun control policies, including passing universal background checks and a ban on assault weapons. Please help me define an assault weapon, Beto. I bet you can't. He's gone further. Except for the paint color and maybe some of the accessories that make it look scarier, but it's no different than any other .223 hunting rifle that are also semi-automatic. Anyway, and I'm not even a gun guy and I know this shit. Okay, let's see. Calling a banning gun license program and a mandatory gun buyback program. Beto, why don't you call the what's her name in New Zealand? I don't know if is it a prime minister in New Zealand? Whatever, the president or prime minister, whatever they call it in New Zealand. Ask her how that gun buyback program's going, because they haven't gotten very many. So anyway, yeah, and then they go on the shooting in El Paso. So I just found this fascinating. I found it completely fascinating. So then I went and I noticed, now this is an interesting thread on Twitter that I saw, a guy talking about this. And this is really makes sense to me. And maybe it's because I tend to live on the conservative side of that aisle. But, so here's what Beto wrote. He said, the credit card companies have enabled many of America's mass shootings in the last decade. And with Washington unwilling to act, they need to cut off the sale of weapons of war today. Okay. So you're telling that Now you want the credit card companies not to allow a legal transaction? Huh. That just don't make sense. Anyway, so this is Farad Mehta writes, the go along, get along, free market uber alles conservatives are going to need an answer to corporate America punishing people for exercising their constitutional rights. Now, we've talked about this when when people who were getting banned on Twitter were starting to lose, they'd lose their Twitter account and their YouTube account and this account and Facebook, but then they'd lose their Patreon account. Or they'd lose their, Signal that does the credit card processing? They'd lose their credit card processing accounts. And then they'd lose, Lauren Southern got banned from using, Citibank, I think? Her credit cards all got canceled because she had wrongthink. And so, this is a really good point. Again, we need to find an answer to America punishing people for exercising their constitutional rights. And the you can set up your own credit card company, like they said, you get banned from YouTube. Well, you can go set up your own YouTube. But then when people tried to set up their own social media accounts, they started fucking with them too. Like Gab, and there was another one. There was a couple of that where so then their credit processings were canceled, and the internet companies were canceled because all the cancel people, the sleeping giants and all those idiots, they were going around scaring all these companies, saying, well, no, we can't, you can't, if you do business with them, we're going to have to boycott you too. Yeah, so you can set up your own credit card company isn't going to cut it. He continues, supporting the free market requires allowing CEOs, this is a quote from somebody, and I believe, I don't know who said it, but anyway, quote, supporting the free market requires allowing CEOs to purge conservatives from society, end quote. Yeah, I can't imagine why this isn't selling anymore and alternatives are suddenly in demand. And he said this before, he's a quote from before, this won't end well for anyone. The first people it will go badly for are those on the right who are seen, justly or not, as defending the position that conservative principles require conservatives to allow the left to eliminate conservatives from society. Anyway, if corporate America becomes the enemy, it will be treated like one. If that happens, conservatives who insist principle requires revealing one breast to the corporate sword shouldn't be surprised if they're told their services are no longer required. Now, he was referencing an article here, The Wages of Woke, from the Washington Beacon. I'll get to that in a second. In fact, let's check that out, too. The Wages of Woke. Hang on a second here. Let me make it fit the screen. There we go. How the left uses corporate America to evade democracy. By the way, before I even read this article, we'll get into this in a second. In fact, I'm going to take it off the page just so I can say hello. First, can I get a big fat FTG for Beto O'Rourke? Because I'm sorry, Beto, you are Mr. FTG today. And I'm even going to throw one up myself there. There's my FTG for Beto. Also, good morning, everybody. I'm going to say hi. Good morning, C. Thomas, who was first. Got the bell, baby. All right. And good morning, Duck Dog, Sarah, Jaeger Pony, Miss April. How you doing, April Rain? Miss Liberty in the house. Also, the gayest person on YouTube, and Longfish, and who else we got? There's more people. RVA, good morning. And scrolling. MC, hammer time. Good morning, Chadwick Dupree and Piccolo. Man, the gang is all here today. Holy smokes, there's a whole bunch of people chatting away, going at it. I love it. I'd love to see you here. Good morning, Nate, 138. Straight Sith Male, Grillin' Pirate Pete. Holy smokes, we are all here this morning. So anyway, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. If you're new here, I don't know if you're new here or just lurking in the background. Hey, we are here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. And If you'd be so kind, right down there's a little arrow that says share this out, or you can retweet the Twitter, my Twitter that I send out every day. My Twitter account's down on this side, at Dawg Knight. I'm on Twitter, Minds and Gab as that entity, or my Instagram is Yes That's Marty. And we don't have super chats because I don't have enough subscribers. But if you want to do super chats, we can accommodate that too. In the description down below, there is a Streamlabs link. If you absolutely want me to shout out something you're putting out there, or if you have questions, I answer all questions. Well, let's just say fully and truthfully, for the most part. Anyway, and those of you who do super chats, I appreciate y'all so much. It's a great incentive to keep going, although I love doing this. All right, let's get into this article. Oh, by the way, Sarah did put the super chat link in the chat just there. So there we go. All right, let's get this article back up here. The Wages of Woke. And I think he wrote this is from September. Well, this is a few days ago, not too long ago. This is an important article, I think, and it's weird because how the left uses corporate America to evade democracy. Time was CEOs of mighty enterprises shied away from politics, especially hot-button social and cultural. Oh, I didn't have my coffee. Where the hell did my coffee go? All right, whatever. I'll just have to do without it today. Especially hot-button social and cultural issues. They focused instead on the bottom line. They maximized shareholder value by delivering goods and services to customers. Some businessmen still operate by this principle. In doing so, they provide not only for their employees and CEOs and board members, but also for the institutions, pensions, individual retirement plans, index funds, hospitals, philanthropies invested in their companies. That's no longer enough for many of America's richest and most powerful. Suddenly, corporate America has conscience. Every week brings new examples of CEOs intervening in political, cultural, and social debate. In every instance, the prominent spokesmen for American business situate themselves comfortably on the left side of the political spectrum. Shareholder capitalism finds itself under attack, not just from socialism, but from woke capitalism. Now, let me just intervene in this article a little bit, because we're seeing a lot. We're seeing where the woke companies are making sure that you have to be woke too to do business with them. Now, it's not just always against the right. I'm not saying that. But here's the thing. So, for example, let's take a good example like Chick-fil-A. Okay, now Chick-fil-A did donate some money to Folks on the Family, I think, and then the Salvation Army, and they were the owners of the company. It's still a family-owned company. And they are devout Christians. They don't open their stores on Sunday. They do their thing. They donate to who they want to. But do they deny chicken sandwiches to gay people? No, they don't. Do they have gay people who work for them? Yes, they do. Do they discriminate against people in their business practices? No, they don't. This is not the same thing, because someone's going to bring that up. Well, Chick-fil-A, they are anti-left and blah, 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 blah. No, they don't. Now, they donate to things that maybe you don't agree with if you're not of that particular persuasion of political punditry. Yes, they do. But that's different than not allowing you to do business. Anyway. These outbursts, I'm continuing in the article now, these outbursts are not just virtue signaling, nor is the left-wing tilt of corporate America merely a response to the rising American electorate of millennial, Gen Z, and minority consumers. What is taking place is not a business story, but a political one, what is known as stakeholder capitalism. Check my Streamlabs. Did something keeps chiming. Oh, good. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. C. Thomas, thank you for the $2 super chat. Quote, this cancel culture is cancer culture. Let me say that again so you understand what I said, and I will enunciate this time. This cancel culture is cancer culture. I'm so fucking sick of these fucking leftists and their authoritarian gay bullshit and crusade against the bracketed alt-right and their slide into becoming the very thing they hate, but it's okay when we do it, goyams. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, C. Thomas, for the $2 super chat. And then I also have a $4 super chat from the ever-present Duck Dog, my friend. Thank you. $4 replacement coffee fund. Thank you. I'm you know, a while back, they had a clearance at my grocery store, and it was all this. So I can't remember the brand. It might have been Caribou brand, whatever. And it was like they were selling like 36 packs of pods for my Keurig of breakfast blend coffee. And I don't know why people weren't buying. Maybe because the packaging was really ugly, but it was just breakfast blend coffee for like $9. And so I bought like 8 cases of it. And I'm finally running out. So it's good timing for the Duck Dog super chat. Thank you both, C. Thomas and Duck Dog, for the generous super chats. I appreciate that. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, what is known as stakeholder capitalism is another means by which elites circumvent democratic accountability. Corporate managers find themselves at odds with at least 46% of the electorate. The divergence is not over jobs or products, it's over values. The global economy generates social inequalities as much as economic ones. Many of the winners of the global economy justify their gains by adopting the rhetoric, tastes, ideas, and affiliations of their cultural milieu. Their environment is inescapably center-left. Now, okay, another side, because just the fact that they, really, if I'm a CEO of a company, okay, what's my job? My job is to make money for the shareholders. Now, do people from all different political perspectives, do they buy shit? I just don't understand the mentality where we say, okay, we're gonna start restricting people who can buy our shit or use our stuff, because we don't care about them anymore. Is that a good business? I don't know. Anyway, I'll continue. Even so, the social justice agenda of corporate America is not only meant to appease voters or even to placate Elizabeth Warren. Some of these businessmen really believe what they are saying, and they are beginning to understand that they have another way through social position and market share to impose their cultural priorities on a disagreeable public. Oh, it's kind of like the social credit score they have in China, right? It's it's a little bit scary, because remember, do they have to follow? The question becomes, do they have to follow the Constitution? Does Google, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, those are corporations, right? It's very clear that they believe that they don't have to follow the Constitution, because what are they not? They are not government entities restricting your free speech. They are private companies restricting your free speech. Fascinating. So now it makes you wonder, okay, let's say United Airlines. Doesn't like your political philosophy, and you go buy tickets because you need to fly from here to Dallas, or wherever you are, to wherever you want to go. Well, can they ban you because of your ideology? Because it's funny, because we do have laws against discrimination for many things: race, sex, sexual orientation in most places. And now they're even adding all the gender stuff in there, and they're adding, disabilities and things like that. But you know what? Political affiliation's not on there. Ideology's not on there. So they're figuring out that they're finding ways that they can restrict you. Now, are they going to force you to believe what they believe so you can use their services or buy their shit? So it's frightening. Now, I know because all of them use the bake the cake example. In Colorado, they're the guy, he was able to refuse service to a gay couple. Well, sort of. So when two different constitutional principles clash, that's what we have to figure out how we're going to get through, because the guy was willing to sell them a cake, but according to his religious values, then that's what he used. He didn't want to use his artistic expression to alter that cake for what they wanted to use it for. So it's interesting because they keep going back to that guy, and he's won in court with him a couple times, and they're back in court with him again because the same people who have been who brought that lawsuit there, they're driving 2 hours to bring a lawsuit to this guy. They're trying to get him to, they're trying to put him out of business. That's what they're doing because he fought their orthodoxy. Okay. The problem, or not the problem. What am I trying to say here? Now I lost my train of thought. So, but because he doesn't want to use his artistic expression because that's his religion. Well, now are these companies now using their religion as an excuse, so to speak? It's interesting because it's getting to a point where now, these companies are going to be able to violate the Constitution. The companies are going to be able to discriminate you because of how you think. Anyway, the trend began as a response. The trend began as a response to the Tea Party. In 2010, the quote patriotic millionaires began advocating for higher marginal tax rates. A few years later, when state legislatures passed laws opposed by pro-choice and LGBT groups, corporations threatened or waged economic boycotts. Large individual donations made up more than half of Hillary Clinton's fundraising. For Donald Trump, the number was 14%. CEOs protested the implementation of President Donald Trump's travel ban in 2017. The following year, after two black men were arrested in a Philadelphia Starbucks, Howard Schultz closed stores nationwide so his more than 175,000 employees could be trained in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Earlier this summer, Nike pulled shoes featuring the Betsy Ross flag after Colin Kaepernick raised objections. Recently, 4 major auto companies struck a deal with the state of California to preserve fuel economy standards the Trump administration opposes. Business has provided ideological justifications for its activities. In mid-August, a group of 181 members of the Business Roundtable, including the CEOs of Morgan Stanley, GM, Apple, and Amazon, issued a statement redefining the purpose of a corporation. This is frightening. Why am I not hearing that? I didn't. Okay, I'm here. Redefining the purpose of a corporation. This is funny. Generating long-term value for shareholders is necessary but insufficient. In the words of Jamie Dimon, business must push for an economy that serves all Americans. A few weeks later, one of the Business Roundtable signatories, Walmart CEO Doug McMillon, announced that America's largest retailer would end sales of ammunition for handguns and for some rifles once its current inventory is exhausted. Of course. Now, what's funny about that particular move by Walmart? Also, it's only in some stores. that's left out of this sentence, and that was left out of that big announcement. It only affected about 7% of the total number of Walmarts, but still. We encourage our nation's leaders to move forward and strengthen background checks and remove weapons from those who have been determined to pose an imminent danger, McMillan wrote. How the fuck do you know that? How did the nation's leaders... Again, that's why I'm so wary of red flag laws, because you could have red flag laws for speaking too, couldn't you? Couldn't you just have a red flag law? Well, you know what this person is known for is possibly dangerous, and we perhaps maybe shouldn't allow this person to engage in public discourse. I mean, is it speech dangerous? Is it speech violence as much as a gun can be violence, even though the gun isn't violence by itself? McMillan wrote, "We do not sell military-style rifles." Guess what, McMillan? Nobody does. Because you can't get a military-grade rifle for civilians right now. You can't get weapons that have a burst fire capability when you flip a switch, or automatic capability when you flip a switch. Those are already highly regulated and illegal. Highly regulated. You can get them if you spend a hell of a lot of money, go through a lot of extra background check and training. But I digress. Note the use of the first person plural. And again, we do not sell military-style rifles. We believe the reauthorization of the assault weapons ban should be dated to determine its effectiveness. Did they even realize that a vast majority of mass shootings are done with handguns, not assault-style weapons? Oh my God. Yeah. But you know what? When it bleeds, it leads. The most sensational stories are the ones that constantly are told. And so you hear about every single shooting where there is an assault weapon. You hear about it, and it stays in the news forever and ever. And people still talk about El Paso. Do you notice they completely stopped talking about Dayton, Ohio? You know what that's at? I mean, people still bring up El Paso, but they don't talk about Dayton, Ohio anymore. Or you know the name that you hear constantly, and it cracks me up because I can almost always expect to hear this particular name pop up anytime there's any type of shooting or racial incident. In fact, tell me the name that I'm going to bring up in the chat. If you could, the first person to bring up the name that I'm going to bring up in the chat, anytime there's a shooting or a racial incident, there's one particular shooting that gets brought up almost every single time somewhere on Twitter or somebody brings it up when it has to do with mass shootings or racial incidents. Always gets brought up, and we'll see how soon that comes up. Particularly when it comes, especially when shooters are white. I'll give you a hint there. What's the name that comes up? Type it in the chat, please. I'll read on until I see it come up. Anyway. No, close, Sarah. No. I'm sorry. It's in reference to how different, when shooters are taken alive. Or shot. I think I threw you off. Okay, somebody's gonna get it. This is the name that always comes up. Trayvon's one of them, too. That one comes up a lot. Note the use of first-person plural. Of Walmart's 1.5 million employees, more than a few, one assumes, do not believe it is necessary to strengthen background checks or to debate the assault weapons ban. Okay. Ding, 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 ding. Irish Rose got it. Dylan Roof. Every fucking time. His name gets brought up more. Maybe it's just because the people I listen to on Twitter. But that name comes up so often, no matter any time talking about shootings and race and whatever in combination. That name comes up all the time. David Bowie. Let's dance, do. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Okay, not David Bowie. Anyway, and then to whom does the we in McMillan's statement refer? To everyone who thinks like he does. You have a business acting in a more enlightened and more agile way than government, is how one MSNBC contributor enthusiastically described Walmart's directive. Left unsaid is why government has not, in this case, been enlightened or agile. The reason is constitutional democracy. The electorate, like it or not, continues to put into office representatives opposed to gun registration and to a renewal of the assault weapons ban. And these representatives, in turn, have confirmed judges who believe the Second Amendment is just as important to self-government as the First and the 14th. Yes, that would be a good thing. that is a good thing. Much of Western politics is for the last decades. Has involved elites figuring out new ways to ignore or thwart the voting public. Barack Obama was following in the EU's footsteps when he went ahead with Obamacare despite Scott Brown's victory in Massachusetts in January 2010, and when he expanded his DACA program to the parents of illegal immigrants brought here as children despite Republican gains in the 2014 election, and despite his own admission that he lacked authority. James Comey's towering ego and self-regard compelled him to interfere in the 2016 election with consequences we can only begin to reckon. Over the last 2.5 years, district judges and anonymous bureaucrats have impeded and obstructed the agenda of a duly elected chief executive. A few weeks ago, a former governor of the Federal Reserve suggested in Bloomberg that the central bank should thwart Trump's re-election. And in England, elite resistance to the results of the 2016 Brexit referendum and the 2017 parliamentary invocation of Article 50 has brought the government into crisis from which there seems no escape. How much of this is left? There's not much more left. There's only a little bit left here. In such an environment, one begins to see the appeal of non-governmental instruments of power because they can't. If you can't elect them, how are we gonna get around this? If we can't elect the people that want to change things the way we want, how are we gonna do it? Oh, I know. We'll circumvent it by saying, well, my company can do whatever it wants because we're a private business. Okay, we don't have to follow the Constitution. Fascinating. Do I need to read the rest of this? Here, I'll just finish the last paragraph. The politicization of firms is a double-edged sword. The responsible stakeholder CEOs may have the best of intentions. They might assume they are doing the right things, not only by their companies, but also by their societies. What they fail to understand is that corporations acting as surrogates of one element of society or of one political party will not be treated as neutral by other elements, by the other party. By believing their superior attitudes will save capitalism, our right-thinking elites are undermining its very legitimacy and increasing the severity of the ongoing populist revolt. So, not cool, company. It's not cool for doing what you're doing there. All right, let's move on because I got a little heavier into that than I was planning, and it is FTG Thursday, and so I got some FTGs to get to, and Now this one, so I'm pretty sure everyone who is either been on Twitter or Facebook in the last week or so has seen the video of the two little boys, little toddlers, who saw each other from, about a block away, and they're good friends from school or something. Who knows where they know each other? And I'm laughing because, the two little kids, they ran together and they gave a big hug. The one little black kid and one little white kid, they gave a big hug. Then they run down the street together because they're so excited to see each other, right? Very heartwarming. Just melt your heart away. These little kids so happy to see each other. Kids are so cool because they don't have any preconceived notions and all that other shit, right? But there have been some just steaming hot takes on that lovely little scene, right? Or there's been some good jokes too, because little does the little black kid know is that his little friend Johnny's a white supremacist. But anyway, okay. But the best, and I mean best, most hot, steaming pile of crap take came from none other than everybody's favorite grievance grifter, Tariq Nasheed. And it is glorious. Tariq Nasheed has seen the video of the two toddlers hugging it. His reaction is even worse than you thought. Now, because yesterday we told you how Jessica Valenti crapped all over this adorable video of two toddlers hugging, saying, "I'm glad I'm not on Facebook anymore, so I don't have to watch every quietly racist cousin share that two babies hugging video," right? Because, if you share that video, you're just one of those closet racists who really just wants to virtue signal the fact that you're not racist. The shit was cute, I'm sorry. Well, Tariq Nasheed upstaged her and had even a worse take. Check it out. You'll see. Okay, here. Let me see the tweet. It's not linking the tweets. Come on. Well, anyway, Tariq Nasheed said this. "You see, this is all about the money and white people can get away with doing literally anything to those babies with no repercussions." Wait, that's not even it. Where's the damn... Oh, no. Oh, crap. Here, let's just find him. Let's just look at him. It did not work here. By the way, real quick, let's say thank you. Thank you, Miss Liberty, and that's April Rain, my buddy in the boat, and Sarah for tweeting out the show this morning. I really appreciate it. Go ahead. You can just FTG Tariq Nasheed in advance because he's Tariq Nasheed. But while we're at it, let's see if we can find this tweet because this is so terrible. Tariq Nasheed. Tariq, what the hell is? Why is not this working? TARIQ. There we go. Tariq Nasheed. Let's see if we can find his tweet because it's so lame. Maybe I wonder if he got rid of it. Oh, here we go. Here it is. Several people have sent me the heartwarming quote-unquote video of the two kids hugging. People have been trying to make this story go viral in order to create a racial harmony narrative. But this is just a Trojan horse to promote white male adoptive parents of a black child. Apparently the black child has been adopted by two gay men, which, you know what? Here's as a person who is adopted and is black, you know what? I would love there to be enough people out there willing to adopt children of any race, whatever, that need to be adopted. And unfortunately, there aren't always enough. And so, I don't care if, while in my personal opinion, maybe I didn't put this tweet. Here's that tweet, by the way. My personal opinion is, you know what? If a kid needs a home and somebody's willing to do that work to raise them, you know what? We need as many people who can adopt as we can, because there's a lot of kids out there who never get adopted, and it's that life is not I can't imagine that life is good. I was fortunate enough to be adopted when I was 4 years old. I was adopted by a African-American family, black family that, were able to do that. And I thank my lucky stars every day that I got to grow up in a good family. And, eventually I found my birth parents in my 40s, and they're great too, but they could not keep me. It was their situation, and it is what it is. And so I was fortunate to be adopted. And I think any kid who has the good fortune to be adopted by people who will love them and raise them and give them opportunities that they certainly wouldn't have if they were never adopted, more power to them. And FTG to Tariq Nasheed, because he's a dumbass. So anyway, all right, moving on from Tariq. What else do I got here? Oh, now let's get. I'm going to change gears just a little bit here for a minute, because I found this fascinating. Because this is news that you would think would be heard everywhere. All right, you think everywhere. Maniac Man, good morning. Oh, by the way, Tales of Gore, Maniac Man, Zombie Teddy. Who else is coming here? Mr. Nonopoly. Hello, everybody who popped in a little bit later in the show. Nice to see you. And that's good point. Now, you tell me, Tariq, how many black people are actually willing to adopt kids? I'll wait for the numbers. There was a tweet in there somewhere when I was going through the Tariq Nasheed tweets, and that was the point. If you go into adoption agencies, it's like maybe one out of 50 couples going into adoption agencies are black couples. Okay, there's not as many black couples out there adopting people, and there's more. There's a lot of out of wedlock births in the black community, and I don't know. I'm not as many give up kids for adoption, I don't think, but there's more. There's just not enough people out there adopting people, so you gotta just. People willing to give a loving home to a child, I'm never going to knock that. I don't care what the situation is, as long as they're not giving him to, as long as the background checks are done and they're, financially stable and able to take care of that kid, and they're not involved in any kind of trafficking or any other bullshit like that, kids need to be adopted. That's the bottom line. Now, let's get back into this. This is something that you think would be all over the news. Everybody would be talking about it. But in the era of Trump, this is not the kind of news that you're going to see on CNN or MSNBC. The Daily Dish serving up economic news. This is interesting. Yesterday, the Census Bureau released its annual Income and Poverty in the United States report, this time releasing new data for 2018. AAF's Isabel Soto has a nice review of the findings. As she notes, the economic welfare of the population is, of course, of interest in and of itself. But in 2018 was also the year that macroeconomic growth dramatically accelerated. According to this release, accordingly, this release acts in part as a report card for the Trump administration's performance over the past year and how its policies are affecting income and rates of poverty, fairly fundamental metrics for a healthy recovery. Now, just with that introduction, you could probably guess where I'm going here because you haven't heard this story, and you know why you haven't heard this story. So let me continue here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. For some reason, the little noisy bakers aren't going off. So, okay, all right. So, what are the grades? From a labor market perspective, quite good. Real earnings rose 3.4% overall, with men and women rising by 3.4 and 3.3% respectively. There was a wage gap there. At the same time, there were 2.3 million more full-time year-round workers in 2018 than in 2017, of which 1.6 million were women. So more of those, so a majority of those more full-time workers were women. So good for women. Hey, right? Finally, the poverty rate fell a full 0.5 percentage point, reaching 11.8%. Poverty has finally receded to the levels experienced before the Great Recession. The Great Recession of 2007, 2008, whatever. So, for the first time, the poverty rate has receded to those levels. Still, some of the results are not as clear-cut and strong. The median household income rose from $62,626 to $63,179 in 2018 dollars. This change was not, however, statistically significant. It could have been just due to randomness in sample. Yeah, because you'd think, the median household income. That's a tricky one because that doesn't necessarily change that much with all the new jobs. I don't know. Anyway, it could have just been a randomness of sample. This result is a bit funky, technical income distribution term, because the median incomes of both family households and non-family households rose in a statistically significant fashion, 1.2 to 2.4% respectively. Finally, the Census Bureau has a slew of measures of income inequality. On the whole, these did not change much, but bounced up, down, and sideways in ways that painted no particular picture. For me, what an interesting aspect of the income distribution is my favorite table. Okay, whatever that is. So this, what does this thing mean? Okay, so this particular graph. I just read that C times. Okay. So let's see. For me, an interesting aspect of the income distribution is in my favorite table. Appendix Table A2 is always great. I'm just reading what it says here. It shows that distribution of households across income classes where income is measured in inflation-adjusted 2018 dollars. A condensed version of the table's findings is displayed below. The top red line shows the fraction of households in the middle class from 1967 to 2018, where somewhat arbitrarily I have defined as middle class as between $35,000 and $100,000 of income. The much touted decline of the middle class is plain to see. A fraction of the households in the middle declined from 53.8% to 41.7% over the period. But it gets interesting. The next line, the blue one, is the fraction of households under 35,000, the arbitrarily classified lower class. It fell from 36.4% to 27.9%. That's significant. So the shrinking middle class was not falling into the bottom of the income distribution. Instead, the roles of the upper class, green line, swelled from 9.7 to 30.4%. Perhaps, just perhaps, a little less hammering over the fate of the middle class is in order. So the middle class wasn't shrinking because it was losing ground. The middle class was shrinking because their incomes were putting them into the higher ground. That's the point of this graph. The percentage of middle class got smaller because this one got larger. So that's fascinating. So that's great economic news, right? And continuing on that vein, the number of Americans on food stamps has also fallen 6.6 million since Trump took office. Wow. That kind of correlates to the number of jobs that people have been gaining, right? Probably. Could it be? The number of people on Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, also known as SNAP, has fallen by 6 billion, million with an M, 6,686,087 since Donald Trump assumed the presidency on January 20th, 2017. In January 2017, there were 42,715,593 people receiving SNAP. That's insane. That's more than 10% of our population. Holy shit. Anyway, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which oversees the program, as of June 2019, the latest data available, there were 29,506 people receiving SNAP benefits, a decline of 6,686,087 persons. SNAP provides low-income families electronic benefit cards with which they can purchase food and related items. According to the USDA, the average monthly benefit in fiscal year 2019 was $265.78 per household, or $133.54 per person. So that is also good news, right? Is that right? Is that right? If the economy was strong, interest rates would be much higher. Well, I don't understand why they keep lowering the Fed rate, April. It's true. I knew that in the mortgages, and you'd think that bond yields would be dropping, because anyway, you know what I'm saying. I won't get into that technicality, but anyway, that's also good news. Now, another thing. I'm gonna skip this one. It just talks about welfare reform payoff. New data from the Census Bureau shows that female-headed households were lifting themselves out of poverty through work. Well, let's do touch on this one too, because this is also important. People are getting kicked off of SNAP. It's not because they're making more money, but more people are. I think it correlates to the employment rate, and actually, people are making more money. There's been, for the first time in about 15 years, incomes have been rising. So yes, people are getting kicked off SNAP, but because I think it's because they're making more money. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I could be wrong. Just like how unemployment is based on those who received it and only lasts for a bit of time. Oh, you mean how they changed how they... I'm having a conversation trick with April right now. She's in the chat here. How they changed how they calculate unemployment. But the actual raw numbers of employed people have risen. And so... Yes, there's the unemployment rate may not be as important, but the labor participation rate and the actual number of people who have the actual number of people who have been employed that were not employed is the numbers that I kind of base what I'm talking about off usually, because the unemployment rate, I always look at that number and go, yeah, they changed how they calculated that because the people stopped looking for jobs. They stopped counting for a long time. A lot of jobs are not giving unemployment insurance either. Unemployment insurance isn't. That's part of the government. That's a government program. So a lot of jobs aren't giving employment. I'm not sure what you mean by that. They're not giving unemployment insurance. I'm not sure what you mean. So those who lost their jobs aren't counted. Okay, the jobs that are reported to the Bureau, the Department of Labor, the only jobs they count are ones that include they pay into the unemployment insurance program. I can't remember which thing it is on your card, but they only count those jobs. They're not counting just. There's probably surely a lot of under the table cash jobs that never get reported to the Department of Labor. So, anyway, I'm not saying that's how they calculate the unemployment rate. We're gonna have this conversation another time because I could talk about this all day, but I'm gonna keep going here. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay. But to make myself clear, I would have to go on a tangent of all tangents right now. All right, on Tuesday, the Census Bureau released its report on the nation's income, poverty, and health insurance coverage for 2018. News that the percentage of Americans with insurance took a troubling stumble, the largest since the passage of the Affordable Care Act of 2010, was the angle that most interested front page editors. But the other tree in the census forest of graphs and tables should have been an eye catcher. Poverty in single mother households sank to its lowest rates ever. What's more, the decline took place entirely among Black and Hispanic single mothers and families. FICA, thank you. For those plugged into the debates about welfare reform and child poverty over the past 20 plus years, this is a wow moment. In 2018, the median income for households headed by women with no spouse present increased by a robust 5.8%. The poverty rates for female householders, Black families dropped 2.7%. While the rate for Hispanic families plunged 4 percentage points to 31.1% in 2018. For Blacks and female household families, the proportion with family incomes less than $25,000 decreased by 4.1 percentage points, while for Hispanics, the female householder families, the proportion dropped by 3 points. More Black and Hispanic women have jobs and are working more hours. The rise in full-time year-round work led to an increase in incomes and earnings at the household level, the Census Bureau found. Better yet, the growing number of hours worked by single mothers led to a decline in child poverty of 2.5 percentage points. That comes out to 649,000 fewer poor American children, and while white and Black child poverty rate remains stable, the percentage of Hispanic kids living in poverty dropped 7.1 percentage points in 1 year. Well, I know that, April, and I'm not sure, your situation. I'm just saying that there's, okay, like I said, we'll get into that another time. A strong Trump-era labor market is one part of the story, but so is the 1996 welfare reform law. Remember that the Clinton period law overturned aid to families with dependent children, which had entitled poor single mothers to cash benefits. As a result, unemployment among the growing number of single mothers was high. Essentially, welfare reform said no more free lunch, instituting work requirements and replacing open-ended AFDC with a time-limited grant to poor mothers, TANF, or temporary assistance to needy families. The idea was to promote self-sufficiency among a group depending almost entirely on government funds instead of a job to feed and house their families, to integrate a subculture of isolated outsiders into the mainstream of clocking in and meeting obligations to colleagues and bosses, and to discipline what appeared to be disordered and neglectful households. From today's vantage point, it's easy to forget that welfare reform led to a dramatic decrease in welfare roles, more single mothers in the workplace, and a decline in poverty rates among single-parent families. As time passed, progress seemed to stall. Both public and policy makers lost interest. The Great Recession undid whatever advances had been made, and disillusion with the work and save Protestant ethic set in. By 2016 election, welfare reform was a policy non grata. Hillary Clinton avoided it during her presidential run, though her husband had signed the bill during his own re-election campaign. A new generation of voters scarred by the Great Recession and perhaps by ill-informed teachers were cynical. These days, the left-leaning younger Americans consider welfare reform a failure and even a disaster, convinced that all of the reforms of the 1990s, from policing to charter schools, proved once and for all the racism and elite self-interest behind neoliberalism. It's a sure thing that none of the Democratic presidential candidates will be flirting with the welfare reform anytime soon. If we lived in rational times, the new census number would at least challenge these convictions. It looks as if full-time year-round work can reduce poverty, and that racism or no, poor minority women can improve their lives and the lives of their children through 9-to-5 labor. Any welfare reform as a failure narrative should collapse under the weight of such demonstrated facts, but it probably won't. how much more? There's not much more. Not only are Americans not in the mood to come out of their ideological bunkers, but there's also plenty to remind us that welfare realities reflect other macroeconomic and social trends. Though rising a bit, wages at the bottom of the economic ladder remain low enough to keep earners dependent on government through transfer programs like earned income tax credit, food stamps, federal supplemental security income, and housing subsidies. Single mother families are still much worse off than other households, a fact that basic math suggests won't change. Given that a disproportionate number of those single mother households are black, that means racial inequality will continue to be a nagging problem. So at least this one at least talks some of the realities too. The new data confirm the hypothesis that work is a crucial factor to lifting people out of poverty, and as importantly, to breaking the mindset of dependency that mires people in intergenerational poverty. Continued success depends on a healthy economy, because the poor suffer most during downturns. But we should all rejoice at the progress being made in uplifting these female-headed families. So that's from Kay Heimowitz from City Journal, and contributing editor William Simon, fellow at the Manhattan Institute, and wrote a book. Okay, anyway. All right, so now I've gotten far beyond where I'm at. Does he already talk about Beto already? Is there anything else I would have to talk about? Oh, we'll talk about this one tomorrow. Apparently, one of the FEMA officials was busted for taking bribes in Puerto Rico after Maria. That's not good, but we'll get into that one tomorrow. Let's get into Twitter trends because we're almost out of time, and I'm way behind. So apparently today is National Video Games Day. I see Satsu 2 Cents is tweeting about this. In fact, this is on top. On this National Video Games Day, I feel it is my call of duty to send love to all my monster hunters who dared to tread beyond the borderlands to define their own Final Fantasy, ignoring the fallout of this green hell, and pressing on despite the grim dawn. Hashtag National Video Games Day. Okay, nice job, Satsu. For those of you who are into video games, it's National Video Game Day. I have no idea what you do on National Video Games Day. I would guess, though, if you went on Steam right now, there are probably some pretty good values on Steam Day. I bet you they have some discounts and all that good stuff, right? Okay, National Video Games Day. Okay, let's go back. Where was I? Why did I click that? That's not what I meant. Back to the Twitter trends. There's Satsu again. We'll go back. What's number 2? Sam Darnold. I have no idea who Sam Darnold is. Jets coach Adam Gase tells reporters that quarterback Sam Darnold... Now that's sad. Okay, he's the quarterback from the New York Jets, and I have no idea who he is. That's got to tell you something about the New York Jets. Anyway, he's not going to be back. He's hurt. Thursday thoughts, number 3. Any Thursday thoughts on top that are worth... Oh, there you go. Today's ocean beauty is a sunflower sea star. Wow, is that... Oh, okay, that's got to be like time-lapse or something. That thing's moving way too fast. Fish flying by and stuff. Oh, they move slower than that. That's an interesting looking starfish, though. Anyway, a word contains protons, neutrons. Oh, the world. Okay. Okay, this is the last Thursday thought I'm gonna have. The world contains protons, neutrons, electrons, and morons. Thursday thoughts. Number 4, Shawn Menendez is trending because he and this Camila Cabello did some kissing on for some reason. Don't know why. Don't care why. And And I don't give a shit about Shawn Menendez, but he's a pop star, and I guess she's a pop star, and they got caught kissing or whatever. Who knows? Malcolm is trending number 5. Why is Malcolm trending? Malcolm, my heart is broken for you. I'm so sorry. May her memory be a blessing. Oh, Malcolm. What happened to Malcolm Nance? Oh. Now, I'm not a fan of Malcolm Nance, but on a personal note, September 11th, 2019, at 4:52 p.m., my wife of 15 years, Maurice Below Nance, passed away from complications of ovarian cancer. She was a brilliant landscape architect, devoted mother, fierce patriot, and proud Navy wife, and one of the great, great loves of my life. So sadness for Malcolm Nance. I feel bad for the dude. I could imagine, especially, I'm not sure how old she was, but, that's sad. So, prayers go out to Malcolm Nance, the pundit. He does a lot of stuff on MSNBC. So the reason Sam Darnold Mono is trending number 6 because that's why Sam Darnold will not play against the Browns. Trending number 7, my pet in 5 words. Hey, so if you have a pet and you can do it in 5 words, throw it in the chat. April, I know you got 5 words for that alligator that hangs around your boat. Which 5 words would you choose to describe your pet? Okay. Academy Award-winning drama queen. Oh gosh, my dog, especially Lucky. She's a total drama queen. A good judge of character. The kindest, silliest clown ever. Okay, that's enough of pets. Let's move on. SNKR's app is trending. Don't know me when I woke up today knowing I was going to take an L on the SNKR's app. Does anyone know what that is? Okay, if you know what it is or care, you can look that one up yourself. Okay, vape ban. Oh, this is sheer stupidity. I'm sorry, and and this is a good point. So there are over 10.8 million American adults who vape nicotine, and there have been 6 deaths, which are likely from illicit THC cartridges. Meanwhile, tobacco kills 500,000 people each year. So yes, of course, there's a vape ban. Very normal. This is so dumb. I'm sorry. Six people died from vaping that probably had some shit in their vape they probably shouldn't have had. And so now they're going to ban, and I don't give a shit. I don't vape. But this is one of those things where government overreacts. Government just does stupid shit. If you think about it, vaping came about because of the people. They're trying to get away from smoking cigarettes, and it's not as bad for you as cigarettes. At least I don't think so. And so these flavored vapes, it's not the flavored vapes that are causing the problem. It's someone used the wrong shit in their vape and it killed them. Okay? So fix that. So apparently, and of course Eugene Goo, he's a moron. MD, ban all cigarettes, cigars, and tobacco products first. Then ban all flavored e-cigarettes. Nicotine is a poisonous neurotoxin. We use pesticides to kill nasty insects. Should be Schedule 1 illegal drug like heroin and cocaine. I try not to swear much, but unless it's absolutely necessary, so here it goes. Fuck nicotine, fuck big tobacco, and yes, fuck Juul too. You know what? Okay, how about the non-nicotine vapes that don't have the ingredients that are killing people in them? Oh God, it's just fucking A. There's no big money vape lobbyist. It's probably true, and oh my God. Behind every bad man stands a fill-in-the-blank woman. Okay. Let's not get into conspiracy theories about big tobacco having Trump in their pocket with this vape ban thing. That would be crazy as thinking the NRA has him in his pocket. This is because Trump is in the tobacco. Oh, fuck you. Trump doesn't smoke, drink, or anything. Oh, it's the vape ban's stupid though. I'm sorry, President Trump, if you're listening, I know you watch sometimes. President Trump, this is stupid. The vape, people are pissed off about the vape ban, and well should be. It well should be. God damn, we haven't banned bathtubs yet. Okay? Until you ban bathtubs, which kill more people than that, finish my sentence. Yojun, Thursday morning, I'm skipping that. Yojun is some K-pop thing. Mr. Nance, people probably... for Ed Nance, they're probably giving their condolences, so I'm sure that's what that is. Ed Rendell, former Pennsylvania governor Ed Rendell, calls Elizabeth Warren a hypocrite. Uh-oh, we got some shit started now. Ed Rendell's a big name in Democratic politics, too. It appears that Elizabeth Warren hurt Ed Rendell's feelings by speaking ill of a system that guarantees a steady stream of important people coming to kiss Ed Rendell's ass, is how I interpret this. Okay, yeah, that's the Washington Post. The Washington Post is absolutely in the bag for Elizabeth Warren, if not any of the other candidates, but I know that they are in the bag for Elizabeth Warren, so you can just tell by the articles that they come out. Anyway, Rendell said Gore should concede the 2000 recount, which is true because he didn't win the recount, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. Ed Rendell, this is Brian Fallon. Brian Fallon is from, now he's the director of Demand Justice. Ooh, he got a new title. Anyway, Ed Rendell frequently shoots off his mouth in a way that hurts his friends. He did it frequently to Clinton and did it to Biden 2 days ago in Politico, saying even Biden supporters assume he's going to implode. His anti-Warren op-ed seems like an attempt to make it up to Biden. Oh, well, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ed Rendell's a party hack, but his argument about Elizabeth Warren here seems pretty rock solid. Unfortunately, it's a Washington Post op-ed, so apparently they did put they published Ed Rendell's nastiness in the Washington Post. So they do have opposing opinions to that. Anyway, but since it's a Washington Post article, I've already done my allotment of Washington Post articles this month, so we're just gonna skip. Oh, dude, I didn't even know. Uh-oh. Okay, tomorrow is Friday the 13th. I didn't even think about that. Oh, by the way, give me a yes or no in the chat. I don't even know how many people are still here. Let's see, let's figure this out real quick. All right, we still got 18 people here. Hey, so tomorrow's Friday the 13th, which I didn't even dawn on me that tomorrow's Friday the 13th until I read that on Twitter. And I actually just recorded a creepypasta video. But I'm reluctant to put it out. It's not a real super scary one, but it's just weird, okay? And I'm wondering if I should put it on my main channel here, or should I put it on my Marty's Big Journey channel and just direct you to go watch over there, or should I start a new channel and do... Well, the thing is, I'm just experimenting with this. If you don't know what creepypasta is, they're just like kind of creepy, weird out stories, you know, something you'd hear on the Twilight Zone or something. But I'm wondering if I should post this here. Anyway, tomorrow's Friday the 13th, and you know what is Jason comes to my house and slits my throat, I wouldn't be upset. It's time to feel me. Okay. Oh, how nice. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th. Okay. Put it on both. Yeah, I thought about doing that. Okay. That maybe I will do that. No one, because my other channel, I really don't have anything on it other than a couple fun videos on there. I mean, I will, and if who knows? I thought about setting it, and I talked to Sinatra, because I told him I might want to try that someday. I do it from time to time on a psych workshop. Okay, maybe I'll I'll just put it on here and my other channel, and eventually, if it was kind of fun to record, I don't know, and I put in some music and stuff to it. I don't know. We'll try it. You know what? And for Friday the 13th, maybe I will put it on my channel. Okay. All right. So everyone knows it's Friday the 13th tomorrow. That's enough of that. Kim, what? How do you say her last name? Tim Clijsters? I don't know, but she's the former top-ranked tennis star, Kim Clijsters, to make a comeback in 2020. I didn't know she was gone. Let's see. Belgian tennis player Kim Clijsters, 4-time Grand Slam champion and mother of 3, announced on Thursday that she's returning to professional tennis next year. The 36-year-old star retired in 2012. She was a pretty damn good tennis player. So, okay, that's cool. If you're a tennis fan, I'm sure you'll enjoy that more than I just did there, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's good. Let's see. Oh, no, I just saw something down there. Okay, this is another Malcolm Nance thing. Ring Fit Adventure. What? Salute to Nintendo for including a dummy thick mode in Ring Fit Adventure. Okay, okay, some game thing that helps you get fit. Okay, enough of that. And finally, last but not least, and this one, this is crazy. Serbia's trending number 19. And that is because they beat Team USA in the FIBA World Championships. And this is back-to-back losses for the U.S. After a rough first quarter start, USA Basketball fell to Serbia 94-89, ensuring that they will finish no better than 7th place. Now, let me remind you, this is not the USA's top team. It's kind of their second squad, so to speak. And but still, I would expect. Now, it used to be. Now, you remember in the Olympics, it used to be until I think it was 1992. Before 1992, they only had college players play on the U.S. team, and then in 1992 with the Dream Team, the rest of the world. The reason we have professional players playing in these World Championships now is not because the USA wanted it. We did not want it. We were happy to have non-professionals. But a lot of the international players were starting to be drafted into the NBA. And so a lot of these international teams were losing their star World Championship players, Olympic players to the NBA, and then they couldn't play in there for their teams anymore. So the rest of the world lobbied to have professionals play in the World Championships and the Olympics, and so we got the first Dream Team, which is the best team ever. No doubt in my mind, that is the best team put together ever in the history of basketball. Still to this day. And I don't care which other Dream Teams you want to talk about. That is by far the best team. There's no doubt. But now, we get to these World Championships, and all these other countries still bring all their NBA players back to play. And the United States doesn't always put their top players. The top players, they're making so much money, and it's part of their bodies, and it's a grind. And so a lot of them do not play on the World Championship teams, and in this case, this was a second team. But still, you would expect the second squad for the USA to still be one of the top teams in the world. But the rest of the world is catching up. So that's how we're going to finish today, with a little sports talk, which I hardly ever do, but that's just an interesting fact. So it's been another day, and fuck Serbia, C. Thomas. Well, if you want, I was gonna say give an FTG to Serbia, but no, good for Serbia, good for the other teams. We have so many people in this country, and if we put our top guys out there, we'll probably still win those things, but not this time. Good for them. Right? It doesn't hurt if we lose a basketball game. It doesn't say anything bad about our country if we lose a basketball game. So, on that note, it's time to go. Thank you for being here, everybody. Oh, Pat, Pat, you're here too. You've been here for a while. Okay, good. Hello, Pat. Nice to see you. So it's been another show. It's Thursday. It's done. I'll be back on Friday tomorrow. We're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT. And if you haven't already done so, before you leave, share, like. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. It's all down there. Hit the bell if you haven't subscribed. And, Evil One, I didn't say hi to you either, so there's another person. And if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. Okay? Hit the like button. And but you know what? For me, the biggest thing is share. If you're watching this after the fact, tweet it out, because YouTube does not promote new channels anymore or small channels anymore. And so it's the only way I grow is through word of mouth, and I appreciate it when y'all share. And in the future, if you come by, we do have super chats through Streamlabs, and that's what I do all my donations and super chats through there. So that's it for today, people. I really glad you came by. Hopefully we see you tomorrow and next week, and every so often. This is my 154th show, and I'm trying to think of, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for show number 200. Okay, I'm thinking way ahead here. Okay, so that's almost 45 shows from now. It's 9 weeks will be my 200th show. I'm trying to think of something special I can do, and so we'll figure that out. And also, I'm coming up on 400 subscribers, and so I might do a special deal for 400 subscribers. We don't know when that will be. Hopefully it'll be before my 200th show. Anyway, that's enough me babbling. Hey, again, thanks for coming. I gotta go. My name is Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and I want to thank you for joining me today on the Dawg Knight channel. Before you go, if you like what you saw and you're not already subscribed, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below, and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, and 2 p.m. GMT. A special thanks to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through our Streamlabs link in the description below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.